Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Spontaneous Brilliance Podcast. Oh, joy. Yep, that's what we're going to talk about today. I have spent a lot of time, it seems, lately listening to people talk about joy and having discussions about joy. And I just decided to give you my take on it, the Spontaneous Brilliance take on joy. I mean, what is joy? Right? We think of joy as a reaction, right? It's the way we feel as a result of ... whatever, right? But I'm going to go out on a limb here and say joy is not actually a reaction. Joy is at the essence of who you are. Joy isn't a result of something that happened. Joy is the truth of who and what you are. So the joy is there to start with, right? Joy is something to recognize. Joy is something to breathe into. It is what you create just by being. It's not subject to anything. And whether or not we are experiencing it is a choice. And whether or not we are sharing it, whether or not we are offering it or accepting it, if you will, is completely up to us. It is the offer that you bring to every situation. It's the offer that you make to yourself, I think. I think that's probably even a more accurate way of thinking about it is, yeah, we can give joy, we can offer joy to others, but first and foremost, joy is the offer that you came onto the planet with. You came to the great stage of life embodying joy in your essence. And so when you recognize that and you live with that as truth, then it's the offer that you're giving to yourself. When we say in Spontaneous Brilliance that you need to embrace the obstacles, one aspect of that is recognizing the difference between good things happening and therefore we feel happy in response to something cool that happened. The difference between that and our ability to experience joy and gratitude wherever and however the circumstances are seemingly unfolding in a particular moment. We know that whatever is happening to us, or seems to be happening to us, right, is happening for us. It's happening for us to lead us down the path to growing into being the fullest expression of our soulful self here. It's leading us to our bliss. Bliss and joy, they seem to kind of go together, right? Joy is not circumstantial, just as gratitude is not circumstantial. Neither of those are circumstantial unless we believe they are. Joy is not circumstantial unless we believe it is. I said that twice on purpose because I really want us to remember that, as Jesus, the Master Teacher, said, it is done unto us as we believe. And if we believe that our joy is circumstantial, if we believe that joy is subject to what happens, then we abdicate our ability to create, to manifest, to be conscious creators in our own lives. Then, when we've abdicated, we've become victims. We've become victims of whatever judgment we place on this moment, or somebody else does. A lot of times, our joy is subject to what somebody else tells us is happening in our world, right? Then again, we're just victims. At that point, we are not taking 100% responsibility for our lives. And we all know that we have 100% responsibility for our lives. We have the ability to respond however we choose, and we need to take responsibility for our offers. Here's the deal. If you're taking 100% responsibility in your life, for your life, if you know in every fiber of your being that on the great stage of life where we all are, that great acting teacher Stella Adler's words are fundamentally true. Your talent lies within your choice. Right? That's the quote from Stella Adler. In other words, your performance as a human being, as this human being that is you, is as special, as miraculous, as spectacular as the choices you make, as the offers you make, and as the offers you accept. You are your first responsibility. The character you are playing is your primary responsibility. When you are true to the desires and the loves and the passions of the character that is you in this beautiful production that we are all coexisting in right now, then you are in that amazing experience that I would call uniting your two selves, the soulful self of the player with the egoic self of the character. When you are true to your desires and your passions and your loves and true to your joy, then you really are on the path of bliss. And when you live in bliss, authentically and truthfully, in alignment with the passion and the purpose you came here to share, when we play this character on the great stage of life, then it's our responsibility as an actor to show up as clearly, authentically, and honestly as the character that we are here to play. As clearly, as authentically, and as honestly as we possibly can. That's how we succeed in skillfully playing our character. Any actor in any production has 100% responsibility for that character that they are playing. 100% responsibility to show up clearly, authentically, and honestly. That's how we succeed. Likewise, it's how we show up on the great stage of life on planet Earth as the fullest expression of our soulful self in human form is to show up truthfully in alignment with the passion and the purpose that we came here to share. And I guarantee that it's pure joy, pure spirit, pure love expressing. That's who you are. Even on the days you don't feel like it. Even on the days when you're grumpy and you're sitting in a corner and stuff's not going right. And, you're sitting on the couch eating Cheetos, complaining about what somebody else is doing. Even then, at your essence, you are pure joy, pure spirit, pure love expressing. And when you offer that truth of who you are, you cannot help but be in a perpetual bliss loop. Because if you don't let joy be circumstantial, then you are creating your own bliss. You are creating your own joy. If you can get yourself stuck in the perpetual bliss loop, I'm going to hang on to that phrase. Now that I've said it, I like it. But if we believe that joy is subject to what happens in our life, then we'll only be in joy when we have judged what is happening to be worthy of us experiencing joy. Now, I don't know about you, but that sounds pretty sucky to me. But I think most of us do that. We do that. We judge whether or not this circumstance warrants happiness. And if it warrants happiness, is joy on a scale above happiness? How happy, how joyful can we be and not look like a silly fool, right? We want to look like we fit in, and most people around us are having a grumpazoid day. We aren't going to be all joyful, right? Now, I have been accused of being a little Pollyanna because sometimes I can be a little joyful when it looks like I should feel something else. But I don't wanna. I'm not saying that I never get bummed out. Certainly, all of us can get caught by that. But we can also choose to transcend it. We can choose to move out of it. We can use that obstacle, that moment in time where things look crapazoid. We can use that moment, that situation, that circumstance to help us come into that place of naturally responding, naturally exercising our response ability to actively choose our offer back to that moment. We accept by acknowledging that this thing is happening. But then our offer back to it is one of joy. Here's an important safety tip. When we think about the fact that we like to believe, most of us, many of us, that we're here as conscious creators, right? We're on this path of manifesting. We're on this path of creation, of creating the life story that we're here existing in, right? And so we have desires and we have dreams and we have wants and we have needs, and we think, okay, as soon as I get them, I'm going to be joyful. As soon as I get them, as soon as I have something worthy of me experiencing joy, then I'm going to be all over it. But here's the important safety tip. Joy comes before the stuff shows up, not as a result of it. And if that is true, if you choose to come from a place of joy, then you are vibrationally matching the better and better and better and better stuff. So when you are a conscious creator of the life that you are living, the story that you're telling, then joy is what you experience in order to vibrationally match the great stuff you're desiring and passionate about and loving. Okay? Joy is the response that you choose to have to the experience of life. And that vibrationally lifts everything. So all this better and better stuff starts happening. And even when the better and better stuff is not happening yet, because you just haven't met it yet, you're still feeling more and more joyful. What on earth could be wrong with that? Right? You're still seeing the good. You're seeing the love. You're finding the love in every circumstance. And another important safety tip: gratitude precedes joy. We do the same thing with gratitude that we do with joy, where we think that as soon as something cool happens that I need to be grateful for, then I'll be really grateful. As soon as something cool happens that excites me, then I'll be really joyful. Okay. Yeah. That's how some of us get stuck in a very depressive cycle of waiting for something to happen to make us happy. The happy, we came here with it. The joyful, we came here with it. We are in complete control of that. Complete 100% responsibility for our feelings of joy or gratitude. Think about it. Gratitude creates joy. We can create joy by being grateful. And grateful is a process. You know, we can choose to find things to be grateful for. Think about it. When we are grateful, when we delve into gratitude for gratitude's sake, we step into that state of appreciation and thankfulness and gratitude for all that is, all the little things and all the big things. When we do that, we feel better. We feel happier. We feel more joyful. And the more joyful we feel, the more great things we offer, and the more opportunities we accept, and the fewer things we block. And the wheel of conscious creation really just gets spinning. And we're like, woohoo, look at all this cool stuff that's happening. It's not happening just randomly. It's happening because we're meeting it. We are finding the joy and the gratitude in all that is. Just like joy, if we believe that gratitude is subject to what happens in our life, then we'll only be in gratitude when we have judged that what is happening is worthy of our being grateful. And then again, we're victims of whatever someone else is offering into our lives. We are over accepting. We are pretending that what we are subject to, that whatever life hands us, that's what is dictating whether or not we have something to be grateful for or joyful for. And otherwise, we can just think that the universe is blocking us. But we know the universe never blocks. The universe would not give us something that is not in our highest good, that is not in alignment with our sacred purpose. Yeah, that just doesn't happen. It just does not happen. And so as we take 100% responsibility for our lives, for the joy that we experience, for the feelings of joy, and for that vibrational frequency that we want to attain and live at, to become a magnetic force drawing in all the desires in our life, then gratitude is the path to that feeling of joy. Feeling joy raising to that vibrational frequency is that magnetic force. And here's an interesting point that I just realized. At the time that I'm recording this podcast, and I just say it this way in case you're listening to it months from now, but those of you that listen to it this week, you'll know just what I'm talking about. We're heading into the season of gratitude. And the season of gratitude is followed by the season of giving. Even in our cultural structures, in our holidays, gratitude comes first. Gratitude leads to joy. Another name for the season of giving is the season of joy. So yeah, we have a season of gratitude, and then we have a season of joy. Notice what we do in the season of joy, the season of giving. We give. We give of ourselves to our fellow players, because in acting as in life, it is all about making the other player's performance look good. It is all about what you are offering to your fellow players. It is all about what brings about joy for you and for your fellow players. Giving feels good. Gratitude feels good. Joy feels good. Why would we ever want to choose anything else? Well, see what I just did there now? Just heard myself. I asked why. And as we know from spontaneous brilliance, why is a non-question. Why is the egoic self or the protective personality looking for an explanation or a justification or a validation of what it wants to feel and do? And what the egoic self or the protective personality usually wants to feel and do is it involves blocking, right? Because it's trying to keep us safe. So the egoic self, the protective personality, is trying to say, well, there must be an explanation for not feeling joyful. I must be able to blame it on this circumstance. There must be an explanation for not feeling gratitude. I must be able to blame it on this circumstance. Let me go look for the thing that makes me justified in sitting on my butt on the couch, eating Cheetos and watching other people live their lives full out and making my happiness determinant on whether or not they are doing their life as well as I think they should. That's that loop that justifies our feeling other than joyful, other than grateful. When we ask, why should I feel joyful? Because this and this and this and this and this really suck in my life. Or why should I be grateful? Because this and this and this and this and this really suck in my life. Then we're focused on what sucks. Then we're focusing on the bad stuff. we're focusing our attention, our energy, our vibration on the bad thing. If that is what we are saying, I can't be grateful until, or even better, when we live in that, what I call the kind of hopeful hole, right? Where we're kind of going, oh, I hope that I get blah, blah, blah. And then my life will be better. I hope that I get blah, blah, blah. And then I'll be really happy. I hope that I get blah, blah, blah. And then I'll be really grateful. Screw that. Be grateful now. Be joyful now. And the blah, blah, blah will show up. It will show up. This or something better, as my spiritual teacher used to always say. That thing that you are focused on, that you're wanting not to suck, the part that you are wanting not to suck keeps you focused on what does suck. It's a weird thing, that hopeful hole, where we are hoping to get away from what we don't want, but we focus on what we don't want. Focus on what you do want. Focus on what is. What is the joy that comes to you from what is? And then what you do want will come. But you got to get out of the hole, the hopeful hole, right? You got to get out of the hole to be able to move forward. Focus on what doesn't suck. Find the joy in that. I've been listening a lot lately to friends who are worried about getting older. They're commenting all the time on getting older. They avoid telling people how old they are. Why? Celebrate it. Celebrate it. You're still here. I'm assuming you want to be here. So find the joy, find the gratitude, find the love in that. Find the celebration in being 70 instead of having passed away at 69. Woohoo! That's a good thing. You're here. And whatever the circumstances are transitory. Whatever the pain in your elbow or your hip or your back or your whatever, or whatever you can't do now that you used to do better, or whatever, you no longer have that you used to have, remember, everything in the past is only a thought. What is. That's it. What we have, what we are in this moment, that's where we have to focus that gratitude. Find the joy, find the love, find the gratitude in this moment. Find the joy, find the love, find the gratitude in you. Remember, joy is not a response. It is who and what you are. So offer who and what you are in every circumstance. No matter what the offer you are getting from other players, what your offer to yourself can be is joy. Because joy is within you. So when you acknowledge that, that's an offer you're making to yourself. Offer the clear, honest, authentic portrayal of this character that you are in on the great stage of life. This character is pure joy. It is pure love. That is what you are. When you are having a struggle, feeling that about yourself, remember that acting is active, not about what you feel. It's about what you do. So when you don't feel what you want to, when you don't feel that joy, then do. Offer joy. Offer. Remember, season of giving, right? Offer. Take that inspired action. Embrace a 365-day season of gratitude and giving. And I guarantee that you will feel all the joy you can imagine. All righty, my friends. I think that about does it. That's my joy explosion for the day. All right. I am wishing you all the glorious, brilliant joy and gratitude that you can possibly experience. Just have a blast and have a beautiful, glorious, blessing-filled week. I'll talk to you soon. The Spontaneous Brilliance podcast is brought to you by Miracle Communications Group. Our producer is Michelle Oneida. Sound engineer is Corey Michaels at Corey Michaels Productions. Music is composed by Rex Miller. And I'm your host, Sandra Kavanaugh. You can learn more about me and all things Spontaneous Brilliance at sandrakavanaugh.com or spontaneousbrilliance.com. And please join the conversation here at the Spontaneous Brilliance podcast by emailing us at podcast@spontaneousbrilliance.com.